I was in charge of the actual Stanley Cup for a full night, and I'm going to tell you how and give you a little story time. All right, everybody, I am Delaney Galbraith. I am the CEO and founder of Girls Club at Sports Girls Club. You know us, you love us. We're sports for the girls. It's super fun. So I am pretty much going to tell you how I ended up in a scenario where I was in charge of this actual Stanley Cup for a whole night. It was actually one of the most like surreal moments of my life because, well, I'll get into that, but it was so cool. So essentially I had a job at the time where I was working in minor league hockey, and we essentially got really lucky because the Boston Bruins and the Pittsburgh Penguins, love the Pens, I'm a Pens fan, go Pens, actually were playing in the Winter Classic a little bit later, like a couple days later. And so we had a game, it lined up perfectly, and to have like the actual Stanley Cup on the concourse. It was so cool. So it was like a fan engagement kind of thing. Fans, it's one of those things when you work in like sports in general, you're always looking for really unique experiences to give your fan base. So this was like one of those things that we were doing. And so, yeah, that's kind of like a little bit of an overview of like how I ended up in this scenario. I'm going to give you guys more of like a full in-depth, like how this came about, all the details, all the juicy details, and just tell you guys some really fun facts about the Stanley Cup that you may not know because you can't, because nobody knows until you know. So I just wanted to first kind of go into like what this night kind of meant to me. I am a lifelong Penguins fan. I feel like I need to get my hat. Go Pens. Oh, that's kind of what I do. I just embarrass myself. I actually have like a Wheaties box from like the original 1991 Stanley Cup champs. I have my Mario Lemieux signed helmet. I have Crosby. I'm just a Pens obsessed girly. As I should be. So essentially, this just means a lot to me as someone who grew up watching hockey, always been a sports fan. I actually was a football fan first, and then I came into this love of hockey when I like discovered it. It's like when I like remember it so vividly too when I was like, and it like clicked in my head. I was like, oh, I'm a hockey girl now. So yeah, go Pens. Obviously, we're pretty great. I do hope that they win a Stanley Cup again soon. It might be my fault that they never win it again because I was up on that cup when I saw the Stanley Cup. Like I was like a leech to it. Also got to have like a really cool experience with the cup too, where I actually got to see like all the Pittsburgh Penguins like championships like up close and personal too, which I felt like was super cool to see and unique, especially when you get to like actually like take a moment, because I'll go into this in a second, but everybody on the concourse itself, like they were moving quick, but because I was working for the team and I got to have like these personal moments with the cup, I got to really take it in and take a moment, which not a lot of people get with the cup. So like I actually fully got to like analyze it, look at this and that. So cool, by the way. So next I wanted to take you into like the game day itself, how it was. Obviously we're talking about hockey right now because it's on theme. I'm a hockey girl, and yeah. So essentially, like I said, the Winter Classic was in town. We got very lucky with like the timeline and how it was all set up. I actually didn't even get to go to the Winter Classic, which it's totally fine because the Penguins lost, but those were some really sick jerseys. Like both teams had incredible branding for that, and Fenway Park is pretty historic. So not gonna lie, a little piece of me feels like, oh, I should have been there. So yeah, so essentially what happened is my boss told me like before the game that I was in charge of the setup for the Stanley Cup. I was a community relations coordinator, so essentially like my role was a little less on game days itself, minus when we had jersey auctions, things like that. But because I had less of a game day actual specific role, my role kind of switched and shifted into like a fan engagement concourse management role. So I was in charge of everything on the concourse on game days. And that's how it is when you work in especially minor league sports, but even sports in general. You have so many different roles that you're just constantly, like, your title can be one thing, but you're adapted into other roles, which, like, it makes sense. But it is a lot for like one person a lot of times when you're in a sports organization. So essentially, I was in charge of all the setup. I go upstairs. I set up the most beautiful pipe and drape situation. Like, I had ring lights set up so that fans like actually got to, have like brightened up photos. Because one thing for me was I knew I would have wanted like a really nice high quality photo with that. And usually we had a photographer like stand by, but we weren't always going to be able to have that during this game because it was going to be a long line, and having somebody stay there for that long with like a professional camera was just a lot for, like I said, it was minor league hockey. So there's only so many photographers, only so many things like within the budget. So I set up the ring light. I brought my own from home. We had all this like rope and stanchion. And I like vlogged the whole thing. It was like the coolest moments ever. So essentially, I go upstairs after all of my stuff is set up. I'm like anxiously waiting for the cup to arrive. I literally felt like I was going to have like a panic attack. I was like literally going like this. I was like waiting for the cup. Like, I actually think I have the clip of me waiting because I was that anxious. I was so excited. It was like when you meet a celebrity in person. That's how I felt. So then I go upstairs. I get introduced to the keeper of the cup, my boss, and like a bunch of my coworkers are there. And the keeper of the cup is so cool. There's actually a couple keepers of the cup. There's a couple who are like a little more well-known, but who I met was Howie, and he was just so sweet. Like, actually one of the most genuine people, which is so refreshing when you're like having this kind of a moment. And so my boss actually looked to Howie and was like, "You're gonna need a blow dart to get this one off of the cup." And he was right. I was like a leech to the cup the whole night, as I should be. And so my friend Caitlin actually came to the game as well, and her and I were chatting it up with Howie. And one of the really cool things that came about that we learned was at the bottom of the cup, there's actually this emblem from the NHLPA that kind of like is the official mark that's how you know that's an actual Stanley Cup, because there's so many replicas out there, and this could have just as easily been like the most perfect replica, but this was the actual legit Stanley Cup. And so the emblem is how you know. And a lot of times you don't get lucky enough to like get to lift it up to see that bottom, but now you know. So then right before doors open, I get this call from my boss, and one of my bosses, and she's like, "You're in charge of the cup." Like, now I'm sprinting around because guess who's in charge of the Stanley Cup tonight? You are in charge of the cup. Because in my mind, I'm going into all of this thinking I'm just meeting the cup. I'm getting a little one-on-one first date kind of vibe with the cup. And I in my head, I'm like, I've done my job. I set up the concourse area. Like, now I'm just gonna pass it by and wink at it every time I pass it. But no, she's like, "You're in charge of the cup the whole night." And there's all these deliverables we have. So when you work in sports, there's like different activations, things like that. Like, if people pay to have a suite, like sometimes it had to visit every single like suite that night because those were sponsors. Those were like big dollars coming into the organization. And so I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'm in charge of the Stanley Cup. Okay. Big job, big shoes to fill there." So the fans are coming in, like I'm getting their photos with the cup. Fans are literally licking it, kissing it, smooching it, grabbing it, hugging it, trying to pick it up. Me and Howie are like, whoa, 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 calm down here, calm down. And he's just telling me about how this is normal. Like, people literally like French kiss the Stanley Cup. I'm like, that's a little much. That's a little much. All it was getting from me was a little hug and a little air kiss. But yeah, so the line was wrapped all the way around the concourse, and so that was like pregame, during intermissions, we're on the concourse, we're stationary. During the periods, so in hockey there's 3 periods. During the periods, I am I'm picking the Stanley Cup up with Howie. He has his official gloves on. He's like, whoa, don't touch. You can't touch in this way without gloves. And I'm like, okay. But I'm helping him. Like, I have it has like this velvet crushed, like lined box that it travels in. It's really cool. So me and Howie are like literally placing it, putting it down, placing it, putting it down. And the Stanley Cup can only sit on a Stanley Cup table, like with the tablecloth. I'll insert a photo. And so I'm whipping this tablecloth up, put it back down, up, back down. Me and Howie are like, we're a little duo, dynamic duo for the evening. And we had to visit 13 suites. So me and him are in between all these periods are just and this is normal for him, but for me, I'm like, I'm literally within like an inch of the stand. Like I'm in charge of the Stanley Cup, man. And so we're just traveling through the concourse. Security was like literally like giving us like a little like I don't know, like the flight crew, like where they're like go, like trying to escort us so people don't come up to us on the concourse while we're moving it from like suite to suite. So I thought that was so cool. But it was really cool because we got to take in the suites, and like fans got to take like personal photos. So our big sponsors got to have those personal moments with it, whereas the people on the concourse who were just fans, like not just fans, but you know what I mean, like aren't sponsor fans, were just getting like quick photos, whereas our sponsors got to have those little more personable moments during the actual periods of play during the game. And so in true I'm just a girl fashion, I did make some TikToks with the Stanley Cup. So I am actually going to watch two of the videos I made. Okay, here's the first one. This was a trend at the time. This was almost like a year and a half ago. And at the time, the trend was like this sound that was like, "Excuse me, bruh, I'm not your bruh." So let's watch it. Let's watch it.
Excuse me, bruh. You're excused. And I'm not your bruh.
Why did I do that? I don't know. Okay, the next one this was my second TikTok I made with it, and I thought I was so funny. Let's see. Hey guys, I'm here. I asked my parents for a Stanley Cup for Christmas, and this is what they gave me. Girl, be a little more serious, please. It's the Stanley. I honestly, though, I have no regrets. I am just a girl, and I am also a huge hockey fan. And now I forever have these memories of me making funny TikToks with the Stanley Cup, me being in charge of it for an entire night, meeting Howie, who is so freaking cool. I always, every time, like since then, like the Stanley Cup comes out, and like I will be doing it this Stanley Cup run as well, playoff finals. Oh my God, words. I always like look for him on the ice. I'm like, is he out there? Is he out there? And I remember even talking to Howie. I was like, I love Sidney Crosby. Tell him I'm his biggest fan. And he was like, okay. But in my head, I think that he said that he was going to tell Crosby next time he sees him. So, once again, go Pens. We're going to finish this video out with kind of overall what this experience meant to me. So not to get all snappy with you guys, but this was a really fulfilling moment for me. When you realize like sports is your calling, when you realize you love even sports as just like a fan, when you realize like it clicks for you, like, and it's just a piece of who you are as a person, like this moment altogether was just, I felt so lucky and honored to be in the position where I got to have that experience, because not many people, even people that like work in the NHL, like they don't get to technically, like not a lot, a very select number of people get to be in charge of the actual Stanley Cup for a night. So, and to be that up close and personal with it for that extended period of time, because a hockey game is like typically like 2.5 hours, like with intermissions and periods, sometimes 3. And I was doing the pregame and postgame. Like I took it down to the press room at the end of the game. I got to do a lot of things with it. So to be able to have like almost like 4, maybe 5 hours with the Stanley Cup myself, it was really surreal. And just getting to see my team up close, all the teams too, just history as a whole. It was, woo, gives me chills. So that was just so cool, and I don't want to cry, because I would. Sports makes me cry. Everything makes me cry, honestly. I'm just a girl. This is girl. But I like overall just the coolest moment. It meant so much to current me, like future me, and past me, like the little girl who I once was. That was like, you know, so cool to have that full circle moment. I hope to one day own a hockey team that hosts the cup. I know that sounds a little ambitious and a little crazy, but I just have crazy dreams for myself, and in my head, they're not dreams, like they're going to happen. So it's almost like it's just on my to-do list. It's like I will be doing that. So one day I will be the owner, a partial owner or something, like of a team that hoists the cup. So just adding that in so that we can clip that for the future when it actually happens. And then I just wanted to leave a little joke in there real quick. I hoisted the Stanley Cup before. Well, I guess I didn't hoist it. I saw the cup before Austin Matthews did. I got to have my moment with it before Austin Matthews did. I don't even know I am coming at him. Like, I have nothing against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're actually, like, in terms of branding, one of my favorite teams. And, like, I love the vibe. And I would love to see them have their moment. Which actually brings me to this Stanley Cup playoffs. I think Florida's winning it all. I think when I'm currently filming this is, we've already seen 2 games. Panthers have won both. Frustrating, right? Oilers fans are frustrated, to say the least. So I think that currently, so I'm trying to look at the schedule right now. Currently, we have game 3. My eyesight's bad, please help. 1 second. Okay, we have game 3 tonight. So when this video comes out, I think the Panthers will, I honestly think they're going to win tonight. I would love to see the Oilers win tonight, but we'll see. Saturday, June 15th. So, oh my God, that's in 2 days. Oh my God, playoffs could almost be over. It boggles my mind that playoffs are almost over. That makes me want to throw up. But when the series is over, I will be looking anxiously for Howie. Very excited for just hockey in general. I love Stanley Cup playoffs. I don't know about you guys. It just gets me going. I'm ready. I would love to see some more fights as well. Bring back fights. Bring back hockey fights. All that being said, follow Girls Club for more sports news, and be sure to follow us for all the hockey content too. We have tons of hockey content. And we even have a little special project we've been working on for the hockey fans. Can't tell you what it is yet, but super exciting news coming out. And be sure to go check out Teammates. We have new videos every Saturday. We just kind of started Teammates. It's for the sports tea. It's for spilling all the teen sports drama. So go check that out. Subscribe to our YouTube, and we thank you all for the support. Bye. Welcome to the Girls Club. Or how should I end this? Oh, sports isn't just girls club, because sports isn't just a boys club anymore. It's a girls club too. Pretend that looked really good. All right, thanks guys. Bye.